Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Well, I've been watching your YouTube videos for several years now. I love your advice. I even read your book.
Thank you.
But what I've been thinking about through the years is what would happen to our economy if more and more people started to follow your baby steps and not spend like Congress and get rid of debt. How would that affect our overall economy with people not borrowing money or using credit cards?
Well, we probably will never know, darn it. But but it's an interesting hypothetical question to think about. The only way I know to think it through is to think through what happens to an individual when they follow our baby steps. Okay? So let's take a couple that did a debt-free scream a couple of days ago. All right? They've been working the plan for 6 years. They paid off their home. They're 37 years old, and they have $500,000 in their 401k. They're 100% debt-free, and they're millionaires. They're 37 years old. They followed the baby steps exactly. They're what we call a baby steps millionaire, and it took them about 8 years to work the whole thing. Okay? Now, what happens to that couple? They have zero debt. They're millionaires. I think if I remember, they made like $200,000 or $150,000 a year, something like that. They weren't making $500,000, but they weren't making $40,000. Okay, so they're somewhere kind of like that early six-figure thing. So let's pretend. Let's just make them up. There's $150,000 a year. They have no payments in the world, and they're millionaires, and they got $500,000 already in their retirement accounts. What happens to their spending? Well, it doesn't stop. As a matter of fact, it probably increases. It's just responsible spending because now they actually have money. Sharon and I today are an extreme example of that. I mean, we're way down that road, and we spend a lot more than we ever have in our lives. Actual dollars.
But isn't there way more people in the world that are in debt that would have to stop spending, stop going to restaurants, stop using?
Yeah. But I mean, to start with, we obviously we were talking about a hypothetical, but even if we could go with a hypothetical, there's no possible way we could get them all to do it at the same time. So, but if all of America stopped going to restaurants at one time, restaurants would go out of business. Your point is your point. I mean, we experienced that during COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the servers got laid off and the restaurants closed. America stopped going to restaurants just for a different reason. It wasn't because I dictated it. It was because somebody else did. But that's the same thing, and that's not good for restaurants, okay? But that's not going to happen in the Ramsey world that you and I are talking about. It would happen gradually, and there'd be some couples doing it now, and some of them are already out of debt, and they're back going to restaurants again. Sharon and I went to a restaurant last night, okay? So, I mean, you don't never go to a restaurant again. It's just for a period of time while you're paying off your consumer debt in baby step 2. And so if we could talk enough people into working this plan, people would become wealthy, and wealthy people spend more money than poor people.
There'd be a change in the balance of power, though. That would probably be the biggest.
I tell you who it'd be really bad for, though.
Banks.
The banks.
Yeah.
It'd be bad for colleges and cars and all that.
Well, colleges could still get their money because we just pay cash.
I go to college, but the difference is you're gonna be choosing the car differently. And the car finance companies would be screwed.
That's what I'm saying. The balance of power changes because now the people have their power back because they have their own income.
The only people that would be out of business would be debt people. But the rest of them would be doing great because the money would flow in the economy. Because what you're thinking is that all of a sudden everybody builds up all this wealth and they sit at home and watch Netflix. They don't. Sharon and I went out to dinner last night. Sharon and I just took a trip. Sharon and I bought her some golf clubs this week. I mean, we spend more now because we have a lot more now than we did when we were broke people. And so when you're broke people, you don't have any money to spend. Oh, and by the way, generosity goes way up when people have things.
Okay. That's the part we need to camp out on. What would change there?
I mean, I was telling some guys, I was on a podcast this morning. I said, if we could cut what we spend on pets in America by 10 to 20%, and what we spend on Halloween by 10 to 20%, and allocate all of that to hungry kids, there'd be no hungry kids.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
10 to 20% of what you spend on Halloween, 10 to 20% of what you spend on your pet. Because it's billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. It's crazy. We do spend way more on pets than Halloween, by the way. And I love pets. I have a dog that is my life. So I'm just saying, but like that dog better than most of you people. But but that still, the point is it's out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he's got an interesting point. But the fact that he asked that question, here's what's laying under that. This banking financed to create spending that drives the economy, dog chasing its tail thing, has convinced people that it's the only way for the economy to prosper. And it's not true. The economy could prosper without financing it.
Yeah.
Because I don't finance anything, and I am stimulating the economy, I can promise you.
And then it's not a wheel. It's just an ongoing thing. It doesn't have to do the peaks and valleys thing.
Yeah.
It just
and my generosity, I give more than in a year than I made most years when I was broke, you know?
No, that's right.
And
That's a
so,
great
I mean, it's
feeling.
just, you're in a different position. It's a different world. And that 37-year-old couple that's millionaires, they're not at where Sharon and I are, but they're not as old as us. I'm old. And so they're young. I mean, they got a long time to do this, but that couple can now travel. They can go out to eat. They can go down to the car dealer and write a check and buy a car. They can do anything you want to do, but they're paying cash for it, and they're all still purchases, and your purchasing actually increases because you've got some stinking money, you know?
Yeah.
And it's live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. But hypothetically, if we could get everyone to stop going to restaurants at one time, you'd have COVID. That's what would happen. And by the way, car dealers were not doing much better in restaurants during that time. And a whole bunch of other people. The only people prospering were the plexiglass people. But, you know, and the people selling masks of all kinds, and the people selling vaccines. Oh, yeah, they made some money. Oh, yeah, they made some money. Oh, yes, they made some money. Oh, you need to look at that. It's so much money.
Plexiglass? Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the vaccines.
Vaccines.
It's unbelievable how many zeros. And we just drove off and watched it happen. It's all good. So many zeros. Can I talk about how many zeros it is?
Say unbelievable again. That was
Can I say
that was good.
unbelievable number of zeros? Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.